Hello, everyone. My name is Ido Akinde. Everyone calls me ID. Welcome to season 4, episode 7. I think it's 7. Episode 7 in our Dear Founder Startup Building series. We've just completed a list of 5 things to think about when looking for a co-founder candidate, right? I have a rubric. I have something just like a framework, like a set of things to think about, and people have shared feedback with me that it really helped them. So I hope it helps you as much as those other people. In this episode, we'll talk about what's the next thing to do when you do find a candidate. So, now I've filtered 20 candidates through our filters. I've filtered them to 3 or 5, right? What do I do? What do I do, right? What's the next thing to do? So I have my team in place, but what's the next thing to do, right? I have my team. So in this episode, we'll talk about what to do when you find a set of compatible co-founder candidates, and we'll also pick the first of 3 things. So I have 3 things to think about, and we'll pick the first one. I'm going to get out of your face right now, and let's talk about them. So the first thing to do when you find a co-founder candidate, okay? The first thing to do when you find a co-founder candidate is to test. Is to run a test, okay? So many of the things that we discussed earlier are observational, are conversational, are relational things, right? So you discover them through conversations, discussions, through a relationship, through cultivating your relationship with that person. But in this particular set of videos, this is the first of 3 videos that fall into what you should do. So this is the right slide. That fall into the things that you should do. These are actual practical actions that you should execute, actions that you should take after making the observations and filtering based on your observations. So now you take action and interpret those actions. So the first thing that you should do is that you should test this co-founder candidate, okay? We'll talk about that shortly. The second thing is that you should share a co-founder agreement with them, share an agreement with them. And the third thing is that you should discuss equity, okay? We'll talk about them in detail, but within this same episode, let's talk about the tests item. So what do I mean by test? I mean, fabricate some kind of small, manageable, very time-bound exercise or test and ask for this person's involvement. Of course, it's at your discretion. You may not reveal that you are testing them, right? Because that may affect behavior. That information may affect their behavior. But you want to observe them working on a project in a collaborative manner with you. So what am I saying? Create some kind of project, defining it in a Google Docs spreadsheet or in a cloud hosted spreadsheet, and share the link and tell them, look, guy, we need to fill up this spreadsheet. We need to complete this assignment in the next 8 hours, if you have that kind of time, or over the next 3 days, if you have that kind of time. It should be time bound, okay? And it should be small. It doesn't need to be an elaborate. You don't need to build a complete e-commerce website, right? That's not what we're talking about. That's too big. Something small that just reveals to you a lot of data about how this person works. So you're going to see a couple of things, okay? And these are just natural things. You're going to see this person's attitude to excuses. Are they someone who gives a lot of excuses, or are they someone who has a natural ownership mentality? So Are they someone who gives a lot of excuses, or are they someone who has a natural ownership mentality, right? Or ownership mindset? Do they own their tasks and get it done? Remember grit. Are they someone who sees things to closure, or are they someone who abandons things midway? Do they have enough attention to detail for the kind of work that you're doing? If you're building a startup that helps people with their finances, you want to have, a certain degree of precision. Do they have that required level of attention to detail, and so on and so forth? So that's the first point here. Please run a small test and, observe the body language. And from there, you also are learning more about this candidate. Thank you very much. Without much further ado, thank you for tolerating my hallucinations, and I'll see you on the next one.